Glad to have you join us on Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Ronke Kolawole. The Federal Executive Council, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, has just approved the proposals for the 2019 budget. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udo Udoma, disclosed this to State House correspondents in Abuja. Udo Udoma stated that the next stage is to liaise with the National Assembly to pick a date for the presentation of the estimates by the President. The federal government is proposing 8.6 trillion naira as the budget for 2019. It is the position of the Nigeria Police Force that both appointment and confirmation of Inspector General of Police be a unilateral power of the President. This formed part of suggestions at the public hearing on a bill to repeal the act establishing the Nigeria Police Force. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The bill, which seeks to repeal the Police Act 2004 and enact the Police Act 2018, has brought together stakeholders from all walks of life. The aim is to improve the performance of the force, considering increase in population, high rate of criminal activities, and the need to ensure modern techniques of policing in the country.
It is therefore suggested that the requirement for confirmation of the appointment of the removal of the Inspector General of Police be expunged from the bill, as to make the police less professional in its operation.
Every policeman has to be in the barrack or police quarters, which is very, very important. It's one of the problems we have today.
The Police Service Commission, the sponsor of the bill, can go back and think if 4 retired, experienced IGs can sit down with the members of the Police Service Commission to recommend who will be the IG to Police Council.
With emerging crimes, legislators and other stakeholders say Nigeria needs to strengthen its community policing system in line with global standard.
It means that something had gone wrong and the police are no longer very skillful in their skill at arms. So there's need for more emphasis on training.
Police must be up to the task of protecting life.
To 5 major projects in Kano. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that despite paucity of funds, the Buhari administration has been able to execute and complete meaningful projects abandoned by past administrations.
From 2016 to date, construction and rehabilitation of federal roads across the country is yielding positive results. This has been the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians for many years. The oversight visit by the House Committee on Works to Kano was to assess judicious use of what has been appropriated in 2018 budget to federal roads and level of work being done. The 74-kilometer Kano-Katsina Phase 1 dualization project was the first to inspect by the committee, where they expressed satisfaction with the speed of work and compensation process. Kano-Western Bypass, with 26.6-kilometer dual carriageway, has reached 50% with Bridge 3 and 4 under construction. The House Committee also inspected the 55 billion naira Kano-Maiduguri Section 1, which was awarded in 2006 but suffers neglect due to paucity of funds until the coming of Sukuk has reached 58% completion. 21.3-kilometer asphaltic Wudil, Uchai, Achika, Darki, Jagawada roads is progressing. This is the 375.4-kilometer Abuja-Kaduna-Kano dual carriageway rehabilitation work under milling at 137-kilometer Section 3. The House Committee commended the contracting firm for a job well done.
We are happy with some areas that we have seen work is in progress. More especially like you heard that the contractor and the ministry are saying the project were enhanced because of Scook Fund.
If you look at the materials, the equipment on site and the way they are doing their work is commendable.
All of our directions is going towards Kano, from Abuja towards Kano. So by the time we finish from Kano, by the time the road is ready for Kano, we are already shifted to left-hand side. The section 2 have reached already to Zaria.
The project has 36 months to be completed. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
And now to security issues. In compliance with President Muhammadu Buhari's directive to restore lasting peace in the country, the Nigerian Air Force has continued aggressive capacity building of personnel for enhanced professionalism. The latest is a course for basic regiment officers and airmen held at the Regiment Training Center, Kaduna. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello was there.
This is a graduation ceremony with difference. Gowns, long speeches, presentation of certificates and conferment of honorary degrees. These graduates display combat proficiency in force protection in complex air and ground environment, combat evacuation, and effective response by regiment personnel in crisis situations. This is part of a deliberate policy to train personnel of Regiment Air Police and Intelligence Special Forces for complementary roles in base defense architecture.
On our part, we will continue to support the federal government's policies and continue to conduct operations ranging from humanitarian services, peace enforcement, to counter-insurgency operations in furtherance of our national security and developmental objectives.
We've endeavoured to give you the tools to counter the threats the Nigerian Air Force bases and assets face. We take pride in our ability to enable air operations through air-minded, assured force protection.
The Nigerian Air Force is citing present administration support as motivation that has boosted the desire of becoming the best in the sub-region, which informs the new platforms, equipment and specialized training. From the Regiment Training Center in Kaduna, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
In the meantime, more than 20,000 personnel of the Federal Road Safety Commission will be deployed to man critical corridors on the nation's highways with over 1,000 patrol vehicles, ambulances and motorbikes. Co-Marshal of the Commission, Boboyo Yeyemi, at a joint press briefing at the State House says the operations of the Commission before, during and after the Christmas and New Year festivities will focus on getting Nigerians to their respective homes safely. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade reports.
Co-Marshal Boboyo Yeyemi explains that there are ongoing advocacy for road users, especially commercial drivers, to maintain discipline while on the road. The month of December, he says, is a busy period when drivers must take adequate precautions to avoid fatal accidents.
Or whatever is required to ensure that. I want to assure the public that we'll be able to reduce the stress for the travelers. The government has done its own part. Adequate the fund has been provided, and we believe that with the deployment of personnel, principally for the traffic control operations, and we'll be able to get everybody home safely.
And in addition to major reconstruction works that are being done by the Ministry on major arterials, the coordination has identified a total of about 353 critical roads that need palliative measures specifically during this Yuletide period. The bulk of this work has been allocated between the ministry itself, which is the Department of Construction and Rehabilitation, and the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency.
Managing Director of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency says there has been a series of coordination among the Ministry of Works, Road Safety Commission, and FEMA. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And with the festive season drawing closer, activities of smugglers around the maritime domain, including the Calabar Channel, are also on the increase. However, the men of the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Victory in Cross River State are not deterred, as they are more than ever committed to tackling smuggling, as evident in the arrests recorded. Umo Basadet has an update on the recent arrest.
The most recent arrest made is 700 bags of foreign rice smuggled in by 6 suspected Cameroonians and their Nigerian counterparts, numbering 7, through the Calabar Channel. The contraband is valued at over 11 million naira.
We have the immigration involved in the taking over of the suspects today. We have 13 individuals, 7 Nigerians and 6 Cameroonians. These 6 Cameroonians entered into Nigeria without the requisite papers, thereby violating the immigration laws of in Nigeria.
The illegal immigrants who were without their requisite papers were handed over to the Nigerian Immigration Service, while the seized goods, as well as the other suspects, were handed over to the Nigerian Customs Service.
We will do the needful, profile them. As a matter of fact, whatever happens, you'll be able to know.
The Nigerian Navy says it is bent on ensuring the full implementation of the federal government's ban on importation of foreign rice. In Calabar, Umo Basadet, NTA News.
Minister of Communications Adebayo Shitu has urged members of the Nigerian National Broadband Council to expedite action on developing an appropriate strategic document for 2019 to 2024 to fast-track the building of an integrated broadband backbone infrastructure. He said this during the second meeting of the council in Abuja.
The absence of integrated national broadband backbone infrastructure in Nigeria could be partly responsible to the poor ranking of our nation. May I seize this opportunity to consequently charge members to please devote their time to this critical assignment for a resounding outcome. We cannot afford to fail.
This meeting is timely, and there is no doubt that it will be a meeting of robust discussions and cross-fertilization of ideas, which ultimate objective is to impact positively on the socio-economic development of our dear country.
Major issue that many of the companies that have been laying fiber broadband cable have been the issues of right-of-way. What the federal government has done, and I would like to say that part of it is advice from the Broadband Commission, has been to at least let us establish a stable pricing regime.
The Broadband Council is saddled with the task of providing periodic evaluation of progress of broadband development and highlight areas of program adjustment to permit the realization of new and emerging opportunities, as members selected from strategic stakeholders with the minister as chairman. Ruth is standing by in Lagos with more reports. Hello, Ruth.
Thank you, Ronke, and welcome to Lagos. The federal government says it is unrelenting in its reform agenda in the transport industry to unbundle the sector for rapid national economic growth. The secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, stated this in a message to the Forum of the Nigerian Shippers Council, tagged 2018 Night of Appreciation held in Lagos. Muhammad Abdul Kadri reports.
The secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, represented, said unbundling the existing tripartite role of public agencies as investors, operators, and regulators for the transport industry will engender productivity and profitability.
We also recognize that appropriate regulatory framework
is a key element to scaling up investors' confidence, hence the need for reforms in the transport sector.
And indeed, more defensive of the interest of both importers and exporters in the shipping industry.
Shipping is a key pillar of the maritime impact of trade and economic activity.
Member of the governing board, Seyi Oduntan, the executive secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, and other speakers are passionate about changing the narrative in the nation's maritime space.
Who have continued to persevere and contribute to the growth of the industry despite all odds.
Employment is core to what we do. Creation of wealth, modernization of infrastructure. What is the contribution of the maritime or transport industry to Nigeria's GDP?
The gathering fostered interaction and collaboration for the development of the economy. In Lagos, Muhammad Abdelkadir, NTA News.
Maritime stakeholders say efforts to reduce influx of substandard products in the country will produce better results if less emphasis is placed on revenue generation, reducing the high cost of SUNCAP certification abroad, and educating Nigerians on how to identify substandard products. This is in addition to importers, freight forwarders, and clearing agents complying with requirements for importation. These are some of the issues raised at a national stakeholders sensitization forum for maritime operators. Vera Chimuba has more.
The influx of substandard goods into the country is unabating, just like its consequences are unimaginable. The Standards Organization of Nigeria has brought together maritime stakeholders to educate them and to enlighten them on the requirements for import and the need for compliance. Some maritime stakeholders are here to tell us why the various engagements with the sectorial people are not yielding the desired result.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we said was as a result of the fact that there's need for SON, SON, in line with international best practice, and I haven't spoken about sensitization, there's need for them to downplay on the issue of revenue. Let us really go for the regulatory, which is the statutory thing that is given by federal government.
We are trying to sensitize our various stakeholders. We have been engaging them, because we want to be proactive in the fight against the influx of substandard products into the country. We don't want to continue to be destroying products that come in. So we want to prevent the importation in the first place.
Seizure or destruction of seized goods does not deter purveyors of fake products. Therefore, the strategy has to be redefined if the influx is to be reduced. In Lagos, Vera Chimuba, NTA News.
Towards raising responsible children to become active citizens with values, some organizations have focused their efforts on creating awareness on how the social media should be used for positive strides. Idia College Benin Old Girls Association is one of such organizations. Awal Yusuf Jibu will tell us more.
Considering the importance of social media among youth, it is critical to understand how to use it as a tool to foster youth development. It is in this regard the Old Girls of Idia College chose to deliberate on social media for impact and change. With me is the president of the association.
So as we talk about business of the day, how to improve on our school, we are also thinking about how we can improve ourselves and be more useful not only to our school, but to the larger society.
What impact do you think this topic will make on the larger society?
Social media is an essential part of our everyday lives, whether we want it to be or not. To not be on social media these days is to be left behind. Whether you're in business or an advocate, you have to be online to get your voices heard by millions. That's why it's important for everyone to be on social media and to know about social media.
In Lagos, I am Awal Yusuf Jibu. Back to you, studio.
Thank you, Awal. You're still watching Nationwide. More reports ahead after this timeout. Stay with us.
Speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Hey! Yes, so the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development join body with EFCC, ICPC, and African Union. They present the first National Anti-Corruption Marathon. Date now Monday 10th December 2018. Team winning the African fight against corruption. A sustainable path to Africa's transformation. The marathon now 21 kilometers. It will start from Eagle Square, go reach National Stadium, Abuja. Hostna Barrister Solomon Dalong, Minister of Youth and Sports Development. Ibrahim Magu, Acting Chairman EFCC. Dr. Musa Usman Abubakar, Acting Chairman ICPC. Professor Issa Mohammed, Chairman Code of Conduct Bureau. Malam Nasiru Saidu Adhama, SA to the President on Youth and Students Matter. Mr. Jacob Ono, Executive Director, Fair Play Sports International Agency. Special Guest of Honor, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda. Go open them officially. For more to visit our office at Suite 4 National Stadium, Abuja, or contact us at nationalanticorruptionmarathon.org.ng. Now, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, EFCC, ICPC, Office of the Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission, Kano State, CCB, AFN, NOC, African Union, Sports Council, National State Government, Kogi State Government, Katsina State Government, Jigawa State Government, Bauchi State Government, Kaduna State Government, Borno State Government, FIROS, Bet Niger, NPA, FROSC, Nigerian Custom, BBSR, Fair Play Sports International Agency, NTA, and FRCM. Them bring on this message, yo. More sponsors, one day.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, cordially invites commissioners for information across the 36 states of the Federation, heads of public information organs, information managers, and other delegates to the 47th National Council on Information with the theme Tackling Fake News and Hate Speech to Enhance Peace and National Unity. Date 11th to 13th December 2018. Arrival and registration of delegates starts by 10 a.m. on Monday, 10th December 2018. Venue, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Hall, Murtala Mohammed Square, Kaduna. Special guest of honor, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, Executive Governor of Kaduna State. Deaconess Grace Isugekbe, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, announced.
Nigeria, a land of promise, land of potential, rich in oil, arable land and solid minerals. Yet hunger, joblessness, homelessness, and poverty are widespread. Over the years, Nigeria has suffered from hospitals without drugs, schools without teachers, and a huge infrastructure deficit. Clearly, we are yet to reach our full potential. And one of the reasons is because people choose bad leaders. Some even sell their conscience for a few thousand naira for 2019 elections. Don't sell your vote. Don't sell your future. Don't buy the people's lives. Vote selling is a crime against yourself. You will spend the next 4 years paying for it. Vote buying is against the law. Politicians, stop buying votes. People, stop selling your future. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Glad to know you're still watching Nationwide on NTA Network. Let's talk about the 2019 general elections. Nigeria's 2019 general elections continue to attract global attention with the demonstration of commitment by non-governmental organizations to add value to the nation's electoral process. One of such organizations is the Africa Electoral Integrity Initiative, which held a national conference in Abuja, where stakeholders stressed the need to restore voter confidence and sustain the integrity of the elections. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi reports.
19 years of uninterrupted democracy. Indeed, Nigeria's role as a major actor of promoting democratic norms in the continent is significant. This forum therefore provides opportunity to stakeholders to share quality ideas and provide solutions to some identified issues affecting the integrity of the electoral process. Issues of underage registration and voting, vote selling and buying, as well as social media misinformation have been identified by the discussants as threats to democracy.
We're going to be focusing on educating voters not to sell, and also educating the stakeholders not to be involved in the act or process of buying votes.
Where elections happen without integrity, usually there can be chaos and conflict afterwards. So that's why we're trying to bring all these agencies together, sensitize everybody.
They also identified genuine collaboration among key players in Nigeria's electoral process and commitment by the voting populace as crucial to conducting free and fair elections.
What are the political parties doing to give comfort to Nigerians that they are going to address the most important issues of Nigeria?
If a political party cannot even win 5 councillors, why should we retain it?
The Africa Electoral Integrity Initiative, organizers of the event, is a USA-funded Pan-African non-partisan organization with a network of committed Africans involved in elections administration. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a federal high court sitting in Jalingo has directed the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to arraign the Taraba State governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Sani Abubakar Danladi, before it by next sitting, or it will dismiss the case against him and other persons before the court. Justice Stephen Pam gave the ruling following the inability of the prosecuting agent to arraign the defendant before it for the second time. Joseph Sando Othen reports.
The former acting governor of Taraba State and the State All Progressives Congress APC governorship candidate for the 2019 general election, Sani Abubakar Danladi, former Minister of Labour and Productivity, Joel Danlami Ikenya, and member representing Takun 2 State Constituency, Mark Useni, are to be arraigned by EFCC before the Federal High Court in Jalingo for conspiring and receiving money amounting to 450 million naira without proper banking transactions. For the second sitting, 2 of the defendants, Joel Ikenya and Mark Useni, appeared before the court, but Sani Abubakar Danladi was again absent. Counsel to EFCC, Israel Akande, told the court that the investigation team is having trouble locating the third defendant and prayed the court to direct his counsel to serve him with the charges and present him in court. Counsel to Sani Danladi, however, objected to the prayer, notifying the court that it is the primary responsibility of the prosecutor to arraign the defendant for trial, or the court will have no jurisdiction to commence proceedings. Both counsel to Joel Ikenya and Mark Useni on their part made a case for their clients to be discharged as they are being held ransom following the failure of EFCC to present Sani Abubakar Danladi for the case to commence. Justice Stephen Pam wrote that EFCC should live up to its responsibility and arraign all the defendants before it by next sitting.
The court has adjourned the matter to 15th January for the arraignment. So that's all I can say on the matter. Sorry.
And the matter will not be heard on the basis that in the whole of this country, the EFCC is helpless. Is unable to serve the third defendant and produce him to court. We feel that the court should discharge the charge so that when they are ready, they should come back. That is just the summary of what happened in court today.
Meanwhile, a cross-section of youth gathered themselves outside the court gate with placards demanding for justice. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Oten, NTA News.
Ahead of the official flag-off of campaign by the governing All Progressives Congress, some of its support groups have commenced mobilization of voters. A Stand with Buhari is among the latest to bring together APC interest groups from across the country to renew their support and fine-tune strategies that will enable them add value to the electoral process. The group is confident that their structure is endowed with the necessary resource to champion the cause of good governance and seek the re-election of APC at all levels.
And that's why the theme of this event is next level outreach, to reach out to other Buhari movement groups.
To let them know that next level means next level in agriculture, next level in education, next level in infrastructure, next level in everything good for we and our children.
I am proud that President Muhammad Buhari is my president because he's a man of integrity, a man that we have found out that no corruption is his list. He's a man that have given our children hope and given us future.
As they talk in politics, the national coordinator of the All Progressives Congress APC Broom platform, Dr. Tom Ohekere, and other key players have toured federal government projects in Nasarawa State, saying the people should reciprocate by voting against President Buhari.